Canadian exploration player Avrupa Minerals has been focusing its activities in Europe, Portugal, and the Kosovo in particular. The company has some very interesting and pretty advanced projects that we would like to hear about today from CEO Paul Kuhn. Welcome, Paul.
Good morning, Bjorn. Nice to talk to you today. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Paul, this is our first interview, so please give our audience a bit of background on yourself and the Avrupa team.
Well, Bjorn, I'm a geologist. I've been in the exploration business for over 40 years. I've been involved in a number of, or led a number of discoveries in Turkey and Portugal and Kosovo. And I'm working with Avrupa Minerals since 2010. Our main office in Vancouver, led by Mark Brown as chairman of the board and Winnie Wong as CFO. We have 5 board members, 2 of which are based in North America and 3 based here in Europe.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the company then. That is to say, your projects. As I said, Avrupa is active in Europe, in particular in Portugal and the Kosovo for now. Please tell us about those projects then, starting with Portugal. What did you achieve there so far?
Sure. Well, Avrupa Minerals is an exploration, a small exploration company using a generation model for their projects. We look for good opportunities in established mining districts in Europe and work on them, dress them up, if you will, and joint venture them out to larger companies with better financial standing than we do, than we have. Our business typically brings us projects in old mining districts, and we've moved them forward. We've had quite a number of joint ventures in our history, and we're now doing a big joint venture with a Spanish company called Matsa, who are owned by large financial companies based in Switzerland and in the United Arab Emirates. Our business right now is mostly in Portugal. We're working on a project in the Iberian Pyrite Belt, a copper zinc project, where we made a discovery back in 2014. And we've just started drilling this past week.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. Well, copper certainly is a hot topic at the moment with the prices being where they are. What are the plans for the remainder of this and especially next year then? Or what are your goals? You said you just started drilling.
The immediate goal, of course, is to find more mineralization on our Alvalade project in Portugal. As I said before, we made a discovery in 2014, massive sulfide discovery, and we worked it on and off until 2019, early 2019, when times became a bit difficult. But I kept at it. The project's a really good one, and Matsa joined us finally in November of 2019. Our license was issued in June of this year, and we've spent the last 3 or 4 months getting everything ready, getting our permits in order. And like I said, Friday we started drilling on the first hole of this new phase. So our object, of course, is to continue with the mineralization. We've got a great start. We're working in the Sesmarias area, which we have announced on a number of occasions in the past. And we will continue northwards on that discovery for the immediate future. We expect to drill somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 meters in the next 3 or 4 months with Matsa. They're completely funding the project, and they're lending their expertise in the Pyrite Belt. They've got 3 operating mines in the Pyrite Belt in Spain, and we're working on this discovery here, and they have the adjacent license to us here in Portugal. So the near-term future is drill. After the drilling, during the drilling, actually, we have a helicopter-supported electromagnetic survey starting, and that should actually start next week, and that will cover 3/4 of the Alvalade license. The license is 115 square kilometers, so it's a pretty sizable chunk of work that's going to get started in addition to the drilling.
Okay. And that will then serve to further refine the drilling, the future drilling.
Well, not only will it refine the drilling, it will give us a great signature of a known deposit, which will allow us to use the same characteristics to find more possible targets on our license. We already know that there are a number of targets on the license. For instance, Sesmarias, where we're drilling now, is just a couple of kilometers south of another area called Brejo, which we've previously called North Sesmarias, but we're going to be drilling there shortly. And another 5 kilometers along strike is the old Luzal massive sulfide mine, which was mined until the 80s. And we believe still has quite a bit of mineralization, massive sulfide mineralization still there. And another kilometer north of that is Monte de Bella Vista discovery, which we made back in 2014 as well. So we know there's quite a bit on there. This VTEM survey, helicopter survey, will help us identify even more possibilities on the license.
Okay, well, certainly you have still a lot of work to do there. It's good to see the drilling starting, so everyone will, of course, be looking forward to the results. Depending on the turnaround in the labs, I don't know how it is in Portugal, but for Australia and Canada, or which lab you're using, it takes some time for results to come back at the moment.
It's pretty slow right now, Bjorn. There's a lot of activity in the mining business. Like you said, copper is exciting at the moment. It doesn't glitter like gold does, but we're going to need copper, a lot of it, for all the green energy, electric vehicles. Everything is based on copper right now. And you know, our story has been base metal based for the most part, and we've made a great discovery here in Portugal. So we're looking forward to good results, appreciation of the share price, and moving ahead after several years of being dormant. It's actually pretty exciting right now for Avrupa. We're not sitting around anymore, and we've been patient, gone through some bad times, but looks to us like the good times are beginning to start again.
Okay, we certainly keep our fingers crossed there. Let's talk about the Kosovo then. I think Avrupa is focused on gold in the Vardar trend or Vader trend?
Vardar trend, yes.
Vardar trend. Tell us what you've been doing there and what you're working on right now.
Well, honestly, we haven't been doing much there recently. We made a discovery also in 2014 and quickly joint ventured it. Our Australian partner put in quite a bit of money, developed a nice surface mineable deposit. It's only 125,000 ounces of gold, but it's right at the surface, easily mineable. What's happened now is the Australian partner decided to back out, and at the same time they allowed us to reapply for the license, so we would get it back again for another 5-year exploration stint. So we did all the necessary work with the Mining Bureau in Kosovo, and at the last second they decided not to make a decision on whether they would reissue the permit to us. So we're in a holding pattern right now until the government gets organized in Kosovo. The board of directors of the Mining Bureau needs to be replaced, and so we're waiting on that. So the bad news is that we don't have anything we can do in Kosovo on that license that's called Slavovo right now. The good news is we expect to get it back in the near future, and once we get it back, then we've had several how should I say it, strong inquiries into partnerships there. So I believe that when we get the license reissued to us, which now I don't expect until the beginning of January, beginning of the new year, when we get it reissued to us, we should have a clear direction in how to move it forward. It's a small license. It's a small deposit right now. It's high grade. It's 125,000 ounces of about 4.5 grams at the surface. There's a lot of good looking potential around the license in places where we think we can acquire or make deals to acquire. So Kosovo is a great place to work. There's a lot of potential there. We're one of the few companies working there with success, but mostly unexplored. So we like Kosovo. We're not happy with the hold pattern, but we believe it'll move forward.
Okay, so that's something to look forward to in the next year then, beginning of the next year, hopefully.
Yep.
And then perhaps we can just talk again back then in future and see if there's anything new in that regard.
That's right.
Now, these are two projects. Are you focusing now? Of course, you will be focusing on the copper in Portugal, copper zinc in Portugal. But are you looking at other projects in other jurisdiction for additional?
Absolutely, Bjorn. We recognize that the market wants to see some new ideas, especially in gold. And Avrupa has been quiet, admittedly, for the last couple of years, but we now have some money in the bank, and I'm in discussions with 3 or 4 different submittors with attractive gold showings in Central Europe and Eastern Europe. I'm talking with one group about copper massive sulfide possibilities in Scandinavia, and I've just gotten another idea in my old stomping grounds of Turkey, which I've just received a submittal on a project that oddly enough, I worked on back in the early 90s and always liked it. And it's available again with quite a bit of new data. So we're keeping our eyes open. We have some really good ideas coming up with reasonable expectations in Central and Eastern Europe, in Turkey, in Scandinavia. And I'm making applications for a couple of new possibilities here in Portugal.
Okay. So something else to look forward to in the near-term future, which
absolutely
some more news flow perhaps. You mentioned it, and I saw it in your releases. You just closed the financing for about $550,000, something like that. How much cash do you have overall now, and how long will that money last you before you need to go back to the market? I mean, if you say your partner is financing the work in Portugal, that shouldn't be too soon.
We raised 500,000 Canadian. We've used about 150,000 of it to repay some old debts. So we have 350 more or less in the bank at the moment. And we're carefully utilizing those funds right now. Some of it's held in reserve for our project in Kosovo. We will need to have the ability to back our work commitment when we get the new license. And the rest of the money is being used for corporate things, obviously, but I'm spending a little bit on new ideas. We realize that we need to make a new raise in the future, a significant one, in order to do some of the new ideas. So I expect the money to last for a while because we're being very careful, and we're fully funded in Portugal, which is a big deal. We're funded for another 2 million euros in this initial phase, and once that occurs, then the partner has to make a feasibility study in order to gain full vesting, which is 85%. So cash is okay right now. We will need some in the near future to get a new project or two. But at the same time, when we get these deals, if we get a deal, we'll be able to raise money on those alone. The projects that I'm looking at are pretty positive programs with some near-term joy available in all of them. So it's a balancing act, but I think the 300,000 that we have left, the 350,000 that we have left, will last us for enough time to get another project and to see good drill results in Portugal.
Okay, thank you for the update. Then let's sum up. Stock price has been going sidewards for at least the last 12 months, let's say. If you've been more or less dormant, I mean, that's logical almost. Why should investors then take a closer look at Avrupa now at this point in time?
Well, you know, I'll be straightforward and very North American. The stock price sucks. It has been sideways for a year and a half or two. Clearly we're in need of some rejuvenation. And that's what new investors and present shareholders have to look forward to. We are rejuvenating. We've got a great project we're drilling. We expect good results on that. And when we get or announce a new project, one of these ones that I'm looking at, I think the investors will be quite pleased with what we're doing. Yes, we have been dormant, but that's changed, and I think a 3-cent stock price is pretty ridiculous. On that note, we are going to have a share consolidation. We have a meeting on the 14th of December to okay that. The share, it's a small one. It's a 4-for-1 consolidation. It will allow us to raise proper funds in the market. At 3 or 4 cents, it's very difficult to raise funds. We did this small raise with a low stock price, but it worked out. With a better stock price and lots of good news coming, I think that things will be very positive for shareholders in the near future, and particularly new investors.
Okay, thank you very much. We're certainly looking to see how it all plays out, and then take it at the latest next year to see how it all went. Thank you very much.
I expect during early next year we'll be putting out some good news, and the new ideas will come to fruition, and it'll be a very good 2021.
Okay, let's end on that positive note there. Thank you very much.
Very good, Bjorn. Nice talking with you. Cheers.